Molasses is the universal benchmark for being agonizingly slow. It's thick, it's sticky, and pouring it out of a jar takes genuine patience. But in 1919, the city of Boston experienced a surge that defied the liquid's reputation. A localized tsunami of industrial-grade molasses tore through the North End at 35 miles per hour. The wave leveled buildings and trapped horses where they stood. 21 people died, and around 150 were injured in the syrup-coated streets. Reconstructing this disaster requires looking past the culinary context and treating molasses as a high-density physical mass capable of immense kinetic energy. January 15, 1919, brought a remarkably warm winter afternoon to Boston's North End. The streets were tightly packed with pedestrians, horses, and brick storefronts. Towering over this dense neighborhood was a 50-foot-tall steel storage tank. Inside sat over 2 million gallons of heavy molasses, waiting to be distilled into industrial alcohol. This massive volume of liquid sat uncomfortably close to the surrounding homes. The weight of the molasses, combined with the rising outdoor temperatures, created a pressurized environment at the tank's seams. Around 1 in the afternoon, the neighborhood heard a low mechanical rumble. People on the street paused, assuming it was an approaching elevated train. Then, the steel tank failed. A 15-foot-high wall of dark syrup came bursting outward, hitting the neighborhood with the force of a tidal wave. The liquid reached a speed of 35 miles per hour, overtaking fleeing crowds and horses before they could find cover. The weight of the wave acted like a battering ram. It shattered homes, snapped a fire station off its foundation, and tossed heavy cargo wagons around like driftwood. Many of the deaths were caused by blunt force trauma or suffocation. The sheer density of the liquid made it impossible to swim or move once the wave made contact. Fluid dynamics suggests that a substance this thick should crawl, yet in the North End, it moved with the velocity of a sprinting athlete. Viscosity measures a fluid's internal friction. When you heat a liquid, its molecules move freely, lowering its resistance to flow. That unusually warm weather heated the molasses all morning. When the tank shattered, it flowed with minimal friction. The rising temperature effectively changed the physical state of the molasses, allowing it to accelerate into a high-speed surge the moment it was uncontained. Once the initial surge lost its momentum, it collapsed into a heavy, stagnant swamp over the ruined city blocks. But the environment shifted again as the sun set. Winter temperatures returned, and the air turned freezing. This caused the molasses to regain its high viscosity. As the liquid cooled, it thickened into a dense, inescapable cement that locked debris and victims in place. The tragedy happened in 2 distinct stages. First, the high-speed impact of the surge, followed by a slow, solidifying trap, where the cooling syrup made rescue almost impossible. When rescue crews arrived, they found a debris field spanning entire city blocks. Flattened timber, crushed steel, and ruined homes were submerged in a sea of brown sludge. Rescuers had to wade through waist-deep, hardening muck that glued everything it touched. Moving a single piece of debris required multiple men fighting against the suction of the syrup. The cleanup took weeks of labor, with crews using salt water and sand to break down the sticky residue that coated the entire neighborhood. The physical properties of the molasses did more than just cause the initial destruction. They actively blocked the city's attempts to reach survivors. Once the immediate crisis passed, the city turned its attention to the owners of the tank. A major legal battle followed, focusing on structural flaws in the steel. The investigation revealed the tank had been leaking for years and was never properly tested for the weight of the molasses. The ruins were eventually cleared, but the event left a sensory mark on the neighborhood. For decades afterward, residents reported that the North End would smell of sweet molasses on hot summer days. The 1919 disaster led to stricter industrial safety laws across the country. It proved that even a pantry staple, when uncontained and under pressure, carries enough energy to level a city block.